Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of Central Valley Talk. I'm your host, Lauren Baker, filling in for Mike Scott, and we are here again with my good friend Brenda Venezia of the Fresno Women's Reading Series. I finally got it right, if you remember the last episode. Yes. And there's all kinds of cool stuff coming up that she wants here to talk about with us, and we can't wait to hear all about it. So welcome, Brenda.
Thank you.
Happy to have you back.
Long time no see.
Indeed, indeed. If you remember before, we were also affiliated with the Women's Music and Art Festival, which is in the makings for 2017,
Woo!
So stay tuned for that. But that's another story.
Which we'll probably mention again later.
I'm sure. We'll be back talking about it as always. But do tell us what's coming up with the Fresno Women's Reading Series.
Yes, so we have another reading coming up. We actually get to pay our readers this time, which is so exciting.
That is really cool.
So we have, our next reading is going to be voting day, actually. So go vote and then come watch us read.
Absolutely.
But it's called Rising Action, and it is sort of kind of telling the tale of what a writer goes through. So we have 3 women reading, and they're all at different stages in their career. They all write fiction, and they're all somehow affiliated with Fresno State. We have Ariel Jones, and she's currently in MFA program. She's going to be starting her second year, so she's a student. She writes fiction. We have Camila Okafor, and she just graduated in a week ago when graduation happened. So she just finished her MFA. She also writes fiction. And then we have Tanya Nichols, and she has a book out. She's one of we've had several actually. I think we've had 8 alums from the Fresno State MFA program who've had first books this year. So it's kind of like a record-setting year for us. So she's going to be there reading from her novel, The Barber's Wife, and she also teaches at Fresno State.
That sounds so cool.
So 3 different stages of their careers.
Are these the only readers, or are you still taking suggestions, or if people are interested still in wanting to participate, would you still be taking people?
So that'll be the 3 for this reading, because we want to keep it kind of brief. It's actually going to be in tandem with the visiting roundtable from Poets and Writers. Poets and Writers is a huge industry mag, and we were really lucky they gave us a grant this time around. So that's how we could pay our writers. So thank you, Poets and Writers. They come, I think, once or twice a year, and they bring their people from LA. They meet with local literary community representatives and kind of talk about what we're doing and what we can do. So then after that happens at the Fresno Arts Council. That's going to be from 4 to 6, and then after that we are going to have our reading happen at Cuppa, Caffe at 7:30, so that way people can kind of mingle and stick around and hear some reading. However, if people want to read, they should hit us up. They should email us, fresnowomenread@gmail.com, find us on Facebook, and I would love that. I've had a couple people actually that I've never met, that I've never known before, and they email us, and we're finding ways to get them to read. So
absolutely.
I love that.
How often do you do events for people to look into participating in? How often do you try to have events like this?
My original concept was going to be 4 times a year, and I kept thinking I'll be lucky if I can make that happen. We've been around now for about 2.5 months, and this is going to be our 4th event. So more than I thought. So far, we've kind of been able to be more reactive, where we just sort of started putting our names out there and becoming an organization, and things pop up like this. The Poets and Writers was like, hey, are there any events happening? We're going to be there on June 7th. And I said, well, gosh, let's make one. So, but that's been amazing. I'll do however many until people are sick of us, which I hope is never. But yeah, if people are interested, we'll keep making readings happen. So at least 4, 1 per season, and then, spring has already had 4. So it could be more than that.
Yeah, it could be a lot more than you ever anticipated. And I'm sure that that's going to be a continuing trend, because we do have a lot of creative people in this community, and especially women. I think especially I feel like maybe it's tooting our own horn a little bit, but I feel like after the festival, it created a little bit of a rejuvenation of creativity. I think people want to do more after having a taste of that.
I agree.
And having it being celebrated. And I think that this is a good avenue that's continuing beyond just the once a year thing we would be doing with that.
I agree. I love that. That night, even, I mean, we had open mic, and I have this sort of, I like my Eeyore tendency, I call it, where I'm like, well, what if no one comes? What if no one wants to read? But we did open mic, and this is the same space where you were showing your work, actually.
Yes,
in
I was there.
Tower Lounge, right? And we had a lot of people just like hop up there for open mic, and it was amazing. It was some of the most, I mean, obviously I love my readers that I had like, known, but the open mic was amazing. We had professors pop up there. We had like local writers that are very well known and very connected, and people were flipping out a little bit over how awesome the open mic was.
It was really good. It was very deep and just very real.
Yeah,
people really opened up.
It did. It was real, right? It was inspiring.
And it was unexpected, but in a good way. Because like I don't really know what I was expecting it to be, but like when you hear like poetry readings, you expect it to be a little bit more butterfly-y or something like that.
Precious.
But then people got real like, with their lives and like their experiences was like, because it was for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so we did have people really open up in a poetic way about it. So I don't know, I just was really caught off guard, but not in a way that was like off put by. It was just like, whoa, I'm really surprised that like you're willing to go that deep with everybody through your art, and it was an amazing thing for sure.
People who were prepared, we kind of were able to tell the audience too, like, hey, if you have kids, be careful because the subject matter might be intense. But then I was so just in awe of people who hopped up there and they're like, well, I don't really have anything prepared, but like there was spoken word. I mean, it was incredible. It was beautiful. It like really an out of body experience. Yeah.
Now at Fresno State, is this like a club that people can participate into? Is this an extension of a club, or is it just more of an event that you facilitate every so often? It
is not official, aside from the fact that I work at Fresno State and a lot of people involved are, so that's kind of my general network, but that's not intentional. I don't want that to be the case, actually. Okay. So, I mean, I love my Fresno State community, but we do tend to get more opportunities to be involved because we have that Fresno State sort of shelter. So my goal is that it will be its own sort of outside of that community organization. So if people are interested to read, to help, I am still hoping at some point that we'll do a retreat, maybe do some workshops like we talked about last time I was here. The more the merrier. I think that's kind of the goal, because even as being connected to Fresno State, I still sometimes would feel like, oh, I don't really know, like as an alum, how can I get involved? So that's what we're trying to do now. If you don't have that natural connection, here's a way to get one.
That's absolutely awesome. How can people get more involved with you if they want to be? If they're watching this at home feeling like, ooh, that's something I could really be a part of.
So generally right now we're on Facebook for the most part, but we also our Gmail, so email us FresnoWomenRead@gmail.com. If you know me personally, you can obviously talk to me, but otherwise find me on Facebook at Fresno Women's Reading Series, and then hopefully maybe by the next time I'm here, we'll have a website, and that will kind of give a bigger, broader space for people to reach us. But yeah, Facebook and reach out to us on Gmail, or at an event, grab me, like tell me you want to be involved. We usually have an email list, and that's been so exciting to get to just, like, if I don't know you and you want to be involved, you will make my week if you tell me that you want to be involved. So it's awesome.
It's spreading its wings further than you even know it's going.
Right, I know, like it's that weird snowball of like, should I make this stop? No, like let's just keep letting it snowball.
No, please keep it going.
Yes,
make a snowman out of it. Make a family of snowmen. Snow woman.
Tooting her own horn.
Exactly. Now, so I'm sure it might be too early to ask, but do you already have any plans in the works for an event after Rising Action?
Well, that's going to be, so over the summer, this is kind of going to be our summer event of sorts. So if we're going to do one per season, that's our summer event. But I'm hoping that we'll become a registered nonprofit. That's kind of my next goal, and sort of develop a hierarchy of sorts, a business plan, a vision, a mission, all that fun stuff. It'll force us to be very concrete about things, because right now it's like, yeah, get involved, we don't know, so we'll force ourselves to make some real plans. And then in the fall, I'm hoping to have one that's maybe a little more back to schoolish, so maybe with some students, like undergrads, high school students. I'd love to do that. We also need, I think I just want more poets. So poets, hey, come talk to us, because I know a lot of prose writers. I love my poets, but I haven't had as many of them. This whole reading, this next one is all fiction. So I have an idea for maybe an all poetry reading coming up soon.
Oh, but yeah. Are they always themed?
They're not always themed, but I have sort of, for now, just been finding that a little bit easier for this one. It's like, make an event happen. So I think okay, what could happen. In this case, it was just these are 3 readers I wanted to reach out to, and they all wrote fiction. So it's going to be all stories for that night.
Beautiful happens.
It is. It's just kind of like these things sort of create themselves. But next time I do, I kind of want to capitalize on the back to school time for fall, and then after that, it might just be sort of random. I would love to have one where it's none of them are readers that I personally reached out to. It's people who've come to us. I would love that.
That would be really cool. Like maybe one's doing fiction, but another's doing like poetry or short story. Maybe it's a little bit of everything.
Stuff that defies genre, like however
like,
that you write. Come find us and we'll figure it out. I would love, oh my gosh, like a graphic novelist or graphic memoirist. Ooh. I would love to have to figure out a way to make that work, like do some projecting or whatever.
Ooh, I could do that. Really, that's my forte.
Yes, I saw that actually on your Instagram. I think you're posting a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Hit me up, girl. We'll make it happen.
I'm down if that happens.
That would be awesome.
It's kind of a tricky medium to like display, like in an artsy way. Like, how do you show comic book stuff like at an art hop or especially a poetry type of a thing?
But that would be awesome. This has been a beautiful like problem-solving, exciting like challenge to show up. Let's figure out how to make it be awesome. So
absolutely,
I'm down for that one.
Me too. Like, let's get it started.
This is how it will happen, right? You tell me, here's this thing I want to do, and we'll figure it out.
And this is the epitome of serendipity, when good things happen when you don't expect them to.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming back, Brenda. It's always a pleasure having you, and I hope you'll be here every week, every month, talking about beautiful things that we're doing here in the community.
Our beautiful snow women.
Yes, we're going to build snow women every week.
We'll make snow women in Fresno. That's like the ultimate challenge.
Snow women in July. Stay right here on Central Valley Business. We'll be right back after these messages.